Hey, what's going on, guys? Ghost here, and today I'm bringing my entire review of the Infinite Warfare beta because I gave my initial impressions during the first weekend of the beta. I made two separate videos talking about the things that I dislike about Infinite Warfare and the things that I like about Infinite Warfare, but this time I'm going to be covering tons of stuff, and I think this might be a long video, so I hope you guys all enjoy this gameplay and just like pretty much everything I'll talk about nonetheless. And like I said in those two initial impressions videos, all of our experiences are different, so if you happen to dislike what I say or like you don't agree with what I say, that's just my experience with the game, and that's just pretty much my thoughts and opinions. So it's okay to have a different thought. If you dislike it, that's fine for you. If you like it, that's great for you. But we all just have our different thoughts and opinions. I just want to I just can't stress that enough, you know? It's like if someone gives a positive opinion of something people don't like, it's like people always get at you, and I just wanted to say that first of all. But let's get right into my thoughts and just talk about the main things like the guns, the perks, and just the streaks and much more first of all. So how are the weapon balancing? Are there like clear distinct winners in the weapon classes? Like, is there one certain gun that is clearly overpowered and nobody's gonna use any other gun besides that one? So far I don't think that's the case yet, and that's probably because it's just a beta and we haven't really decided which gun is the best and which one's going to be overused, because that happened with that happens in every COD. Black Ops 3, the VMP is very overused, and going back to Call of Duty Ghost, Honey Badger, AK-12 very overused, and then y'all know in Advanced Warfare, Bow and ASM1. But so far in this game, this could be just because it's the beta and everybody's trying out different stuff. The gun variety is pretty darn good. I see people using lots of different types of ARs, SMGs, LMGs even, and some shotguns, but overall I think it's good as of right now. But for the actual weapons you use, there's different types of weaponry here in this game. There's hybrid weapons, there's energy weapons too, and there's regular ballistic weapons that shoot normal bullets. So I think the weapon variety is super good in this game, comparing the different types of weapons here in Infinite Warfare to AW or Black Ops 3. I think they did a great job of making new weapons, just having a fresh experience with all the guns. And speaking of guns, let's talk about weapon variants. So these weapon variants honestly don't seem to be much of a problem here in this game so far as of right now, but who knows, maybe it will be a major problem later on if they happen to put certain guns or variants behind supply drops that you can only get through them. But as of right now, as it's sits, you could unlock these variants through salvage while playing the game, which I think is a good thing, because now you have three ways to earn these variants. You have one way through the mission teams by leveling them up, the second way is through supply drops, and the third way is of course just crafting it immediately with the salvage you earn in game, which is a great thing. I love how they kind of improved upon it from Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3, because in both of those games, for example with Advanced Warfare, to unlock or just to get the MP40, to get the STG, and to get these so-called DLC weapons, which I just call them supply drop weapons, is through a supply drop. And same with Black Ops 3, to get the FFAR, the MX Grand, and just a lot of weapons in Black Ops 3, you have to get them through a supply drop. That's the only way. And here in Infinite Warfare, you have three different ways, which I think is a major step up to the supply drop system, and I think most people agree with that, but I still get why people disagree with supply drops in general. But I just still like how you can craft certain variants and just get them by just playing the game. So I really think that these weapon variants aren't going to be that much of a problem comparing the problems with the variants in AW, because in AW you really had weapon variants that just physically changed the damage, the range, and just lots of crazy stuff, the fire rate and such, like the Val 27 Obsidian C, the Val 27 Inferno, the ASM1 Speakeasy, the HBR3 Insanity, the ARX Hole Puncher. Those guns were literally better than the base weapons. Like if you have the regular bow, you went up against like an Obsidian Steed or an Inferno, you would most likely lose. And same with the HBR A3. If you have the base HBR and you go up against an Insanity, that gun has +1 damage and +2 fire rate. You're most likely gonna die going up against that variant. And that's just like one thing in AW that I really disliked, is you literally had guns that were better than yours, which is like crazy, you know. And in this game so far, I don't see it that way. No guns seem to be like borderline OP or just like seem to have like a major problem as of right now, I guess. But we'll see how it turns out to be. But so far, I think it's better than the Advanced Warfare weapon variant system. So now let's talk about the kill streaks, and I think they are pretty weak in this game. There's only 2 streaks that have just stood out to me and just really done me pretty good damage, and that's the RCA and the Apex. Those both have just done me pretty well, and comparing the streaks to Black Ops 3, you definitely see the clear winner here. Black Ops 3 has the Raps, the Wraith, the Mothership, the GI unit, and the Haters, so I think they're all pretty good in Black Ops 3, with the exception of a few of them, of course. But in Black Ops 3, I have over, I believe, like 2,000 plus kills with the Mothership. And I just do not see that happening at all with Infinite Warfare, like getting 2,000 plus kills with the Apex or the RCA or just like any streak at all whatsoever in Infinite Warfare. I just do not see that happening. And these 2 streaks here, the Bombardment and the Scorchers, they are sort of like the Lightning Strike from Black Ops 2 and BO3, and I think that it's either the streak that's bad or it's just me and my positioning. I don't know what it is, but I'm just bad with this type of streak in general. With every single cut, I am bad with the Lightning Strike. I'm not sure if it's the actual streak itself, or it's just my positioning, or it just also might be the fact that the maps are like all closed in and they're not like wide open, because on throwback, sometimes occasionally I get some pretty nice triples with the Scorchers and the Bombardment, but in general, man, I think those need a buff definitely. And here's like, I guess, sort of like a streak like the Lodestar and the Reaper. If you guys remember the Reaper from MW3, that was a good one. The Lodestar from Black Ops 2, just incredible, right? But here in this game, this is called the Thor, and this seems pretty hard to use at times. Like this game, it got me lots of kills. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good, you know. But in general, it just doesn't feel right. It's not that good. And here's the RCA. This one's pretty fun to use. Like I normally don't like controlling streaks at all whatsoever, but this was actually pretty fun, especially on these maps, because most maps in Infinite Warfare so far are pretty small. And I think this one definitely devastates at times. Sometimes it could be destroyed immediately, but it's not that bad. I think it could use a little buff. I think the laser that it shoots out could have maybe a bigger blast radius. But the next streak, the highest streak in the game, you would think that the highest streak would deal like the most damage, it would get you the most kills and such, and I think Black Ops 3 did that right with the Mothership. For me, like every time I use that thing, I would get like 15 plus kills every match. I believe one match I got 30 kills with the Mothership. That's insane, right? And here in this game, I just can't see that happening at all with any streak, especially with the highest streak in the game, which is the Apex. I don't think this should be the highest streak in the game. I'm just surprised that there isn't like the K9 unit like streak or like a Raps like streak at all that pretty much it does it for you, and that's like very powerful. Like I just want streaks like that are like basically they go out for you while you just run and just own them as the streaks own them too, like the K9 unit, the Swarm, the Dogs. Like those streaks really aren't in this game. There's no like streak that just does damage for you as you play the game. They're pretty much just manually controlled by you, which I kind of don't like at all whatsoever. But I think the Apex isn't a bad streak. I just don't think it should be the highest one. But overall, the streaks, I think most of them need a buff, and I think that they aren't as good at all whatsoever as Black Ops 3. And just comparing the streaks in this game to MW2, Man, MW2 streaks were amazing. So once more again, here's the Apex, the highest kill streak in Infinite Warfare for 1550 score. Basically like a 15 or like a 16 gun streak in TDM, and like lots of kills and like tons of captures and domination. So that's pretty much what it is, and I don't think it's worth it at all being the highest streak, comparing the highest streak in Black Ops 3, which was the Mothership. But enough streak talk, let's talk about the payloads, the rigs, and their traits. So these rigs have 3 different types of payloads and 3 different types of traits for you to choose from, and I just like the variety with these rigs because there's just like so much to do with them. I think there's more to these rigs, like for I guess as the weapons and abilities, than the specialist characters, but as for like the actual backstory, it's where they come from and their personality and such, specialists are definitely better with that. But as for like, you know, weapons and just like stuff you use, there's lots of more stuff involved with the rig. So just like Black Ops 3, we have these weapons to use, and these weapons are pretty powerful, and of course it's sometimes annoying dying by like a certain like payload, like dying by this eraser is definitely annoying because you literally get one shot with this thing. And same with like the equalizer, the dual-wielded silence, machine pistols, those things are crazy. But we're pretty much gonna have to deal with these specialist type weapons again, because with Black Ops 3, it's of course dying by those gravity spikes, it's of course really annoying dying by the purifier and the scythe and all that stuff, but it's just something that happens probably maybe like 3 or just like 2 times a game for use. And I guess like by dying by these things, like sometimes it doesn't even happen at all, and sometimes it happens at times. So it's a thing we have to deal with for Infinite Warfare, and I don't mind them in this game, but they're definitely not needed at all in Call of Duty. So now let's talk about the maps in Infinite Warfare. So far from what we've seen, I think it's definitely a major step up from the maps we got back in Call of Duty Ghosts, their last Call of Duty game that Infinity Ward has made, and I think it's definitely better because back in Ghosts we had maps like Chasm, Flooded, Siege, Stonehaven, that matches would exceed the time limit rather than the score limit, which is just not good at all whatsoever. So a very slow paced game that Ghost was, and so far from what maps we've seen in Infinite Warfare, it's definitely way different. You know, just in general, just comparing both games in general is just so crazy. They're just so different. I think the maps have been improved a ton from Ghost, and I think the map design is kind of similar to Black Ops 3, not quite, but I kind of like the design in Treyarch more. But besides that point, I think it's overall a huge step up from Call of Duty Ghosts, and definitely a lot more fast paced than Ghosts. So one of the last things I wanted to quickly go over here is the perks, and I think the perks are fairly balanced in this game, but with the exception of 2 perks that I think are crutch and are going to be must-haves on every class. Look at the right, and you guys see my perks there: Ghost and Dexterity. I think those are crutch perks. With the Ghost, I'll talk about that later, but with Dexterity, it's basically sleight of hand from like MW3, MW2. You reload your gun faster, which is, I think that's key because this is such a fast-paced game that you need to have like your guns ready to shoot and such. And for Ghost, I think this should be nerfed, like, because in this game Ghost is always activated no matter what. So if you're camping in a corner, if you're just sitting there, it's going to be there and activated. You're going to be off the map if you're camping in a corner, just like doing that, just staying still. But in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2, Ghost worked only if you were moving, you're walking, you're jumping, thrusting, and running, and I like that. So I hope they change it to where how it was in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2, because I think that's a bit of a problem with Ghost in this game. And the last thing I want to touch upon are these snipers. That's the final thing I want to talk about, and then I'll move on to my conclusions about Infinite Warfare's multiplayer. So I personally think that snipers should have no aim assist, even though it's pretty fun to snipe in this game. Like, normally I'm not a sniper at all. I don't do that at all in any COD at all whatsoever. I did do that some in Black Ops 3, but it's pretty tough to do in that game because there's no aim assist and such. But in Infinite Warfare, there is aim assist on snipers, and I got a few triples, almost a quad feed one time, and dang, like, it's sort of easy to snipe in this game, but you still have those disadvantages when you snipe. But at the same time, I've gotten quick scoped at close range when I had an SMG. Like I would shoot first with an SMG or an AR, then I would die with a sniper quick scoping me. So it's like, no, that shouldn't happen, you know. So I think that the sniping, the aim assist should be taken out, and that's pretty much the last thing I wanted to say. But overall, I've enjoyed the Infinite Warfare beta so much. I've of course had some problems, but I just gotten used to the game so far, and I really hope that it turns out to be much better on launch day, because I think they're gonna fix up lots of stuff and they're gonna try their best to make the community happy with Infinite Warfare, and I hope that does happen. But I think kudos to Infinity Ward. I'm enjoying the game and I can't wait for the final launch of Infinite Warfare. But that's just my opinion. Tell me your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoy this long video. I'll see you guys in the next one. So peace out, guys.